Black walnuts are wonderful stately trees that grow very large, produce wonderful shade in the landscape. They're highly valued for their wood as well as the edible nuts that they produce. They grow native in eastern Oklahoma and on to the east coast. Can be found scattered throughout the central part of Oklahoma as well. They are great trees for the landscape because they provide great shade, but the problem with them is that they produce a toxin called juglone. Now this toxin is found in most parts of the plant, in the leaves and in the bark and especially in the root system. Now the leaves and the bark and other parts of the tree the juglone is really minimal, and as those parts start to break down and decay, the juglone it also breaks apart and does not affect other plants. Many plants won't grow under a walnut tree or even within 50 feet of a tree because of the substance juglone. Today we're going to focus on shrubs. Shrubs that are sensitive to the juglone include things like lilac, chokeberry, hydrangeas, and many of the rhododendrons and azaleas. So let's take a look at some of the shrubs that will grow within the root zone of our walnuts. The first one is the juniper. Juniper species are very hardy plants. They're very drought tolerant. They have we have a wide variety of types. There's low-growing spreading ground covers as well as upright shrubs. The next plant is the Japanese maple, and it actually can be a small tree, but there are also some nice dwarf varieties that are very low-growing shrubby types. We also have viburnums, lots of viburnums. Though there are a few that might be a little sensitive to the juglone, most of them will grow underneath the tree. And that's one thing I should probably mention. Most of these plants that are on the list are based on observations, and sometimes it's just based on the species. And so if you're picking a particular cultivar, you need to make sure that that one is also tolerant of the juglone. Another plant is the deodar cedar, so the cedrus types of plants, evergreens. Also the pines, we have some wonderful pine trees here. They're also quite tolerant of the juglone. Another plant is the sumacs, the roost species. There are several species. They're native and found growing throughout Oklahoma, and they are also very drought tolerant and really beautiful plants. This particular one we have growing back here is called tiger's eye, and it has a kind of a lime green, almost chartreuse colored leaf, and it turns beautiful in the fall with reds and oranges. Nine barks, or the Physocarpus genus. There are several species within that genus, as well as cultivars. Some of them have beautiful wine red colored leaves, beautiful white flowers, and just wonderful plants. Very hardy, very tough shrubs. We also have the St. John's wort, which is a low-growing shrub for the most part. There are several species of that. They have beautiful, bright yellow flowers in the summertime, and also are very hardy plants, very drought tolerant and heat tolerant. And then finally we have the Carolina sweet shrub, the Calycanthus species. It's a native shrub, does very well in semi-shade as well as full sun, and has some beautiful maroon colored flowers on them. So walnuts make excellent landscape trees, provide lots of shade, but before you start planting underneath them, you need to do a little bit of homework. There are plenty of lists available online and through your county extension offices via fact sheets, and you want to make sure that you know whether or not those plants that you want to use are sensitive or tolerant of the substance juglone.